Bro, moment. Wait a minute. There you go. There I am. Holy shit. Oh my god, I can't wait. You know what? Never mind. Let's see. Let's get this shit started, bro. No time for dilly-dallying, am I right, guys? Oh my fucking god, I'm so funny. Let's see. FL Studio. Penis. What are you guys up to? Nah.
Eating.
Not the best dish I'd like to have.
80.
What's it called? Are you guys playing anything?
Thank you. Yeah.
Valorant competitive.
Valorant? Damn.
Dude,
Yeah, I'm getting ranked right now. I'm gonna try in a minute, but it's okay.
I think
Nice. I'm gonna wait till Saturday to play Valorant, to be honest. I can't play on this fucking dog shit monitor.
where you at?
Where I'm at right now?
Yeah.
My crib.
Oh, you getting a new monitor? What's the deal?
Yeah, I'm getting a new monitor only because I broke the other one, so.
Oh.
How'd you break it?
When I was moving, I fucking broke it.
Three.
Dude, it literally hit like, dude, it was such a soft like hit. Like I don't even, like I don't know, I cannot believe that it broke. You know?
You can crack that shit like a potato chip.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah, sensitive ass shit. But it'd be
the
like
LCD is literally, it's the thinnest piece of glass you wouldn't even imagine.
Shit.
Yeah, you can break that shit so easily. I
Fuck,
don't doubt
dude.
that you broke that. Yeah.
They're planning. Good job. I forgot, like, Valorant makes you try too hard. As a league, I don't really try as hard. I play it, but, like, I don't
Alright, I'm just gonna
have
be
to
in the background, guys. Have fun.
go try hard mode.
This game is.
I was just 6.
now. Pro. Fuck, I can't wait for my monitor to go for though. God damn it. How do I do this? I need to. Oh, that's right, that's right. I could do this. Nice, nice. Not a bad fucking camera angle, to be honest. That is not even bad. Whoa, that was looking out horrible. Let's see. What else do I need? Snares, maybe? Snares. And I got hi-hat. Yeah, I think for now that should be good. This should be fine. Let's see. I'm lucky hungry as a bitch, I'm not gonna lie. Trying to get some food. Let's go. Food has been ordered. Let's fucking go. Oh my god. I was so excited for that. My fucking god. Let's see. Yo, what the fuck? Six, 7. Bro, holy shit. 8, 9, 10. I don't think I picked up kick. Are there seriously no fucking kicks here? Oh, there is. I need some fucking kicks, bruh. Bro, what? Oh, I see. That's pretty cool. that's better. Holy fuck. Bro moment. No way, dude. Bro, are you fucking serious? Can you work? Dude, I gotta take a piss. I'll be right back. I'm not colorblind, I swear. Alright, let's see. Wait a minute. Are you fucking serious? Work, please. Please work. Fuck, bro. Fuck, bro. god. Holy shit, that is loud as a bitch. Holy shit. Alright, I got food. Let's fucking go, dude. Alright, I'll listen back to this once my ears are cleaned up a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and look for a YouTube video to watch, eh? Am I right? Fuck, will I eat? Am I right? Who does that? Pff, I put Oklahoma betas instead of beats. God damn it.
In the year 2100, our children and grandchildren may live and work in the atmosphere of another world. Most of the time when we imagine the future of human habitation on other planets, it's Mars that pops to mind. But today we're going to discuss a radical notion that's Mars kind of sucks. Its low gravity would be awful for our bodies. Its lack of atmosphere is deadly, obviously, and its distance from the sun ensures a bleak existence. Setting. Imagine living in Antarctica, only there's no air, and there's no hope of ever leaving, and everyone is that's colonising Mars, then it's a bit of a tough sell. But, good news, there's a better, warmer, hipper planet, even closer to home, and it never really gets its due, and it should. That planet's Venus. It's Earth's twin celestial neighbour, which, as you'll see today, is potentially a much better candidate for future human settlements, and maybe it has been or not. So why does it Venus? How does it always... Then let's change it and discover what life might be like in a cloud city on Venus.
Fuck, that's hot.
As far back as 1971, when the first interplanetary probes, the Soviet Venera craft, arrived at Venus, it was clear that life on the surface of the planet would never be possible. The Venera missions revealed the surface of Venus to be an inferno, with winds up to 300 kilometers per hour and temperatures hot enough to melt lead. None of the craft lasted longer than 2 hours on the surface, as each of them was crushed under the weight of 96 atmospheres of pressure. With thousands of surface volcanoes and rocked by constant quakes, the surface of Venus is one place humanity will most likely never visit in person. Yet, it is these very conditions which create some hope for a future colony on Venus, and the possibility did not escape US and Soviet planners. In 1971, Jeffrey A. Landis of NASA Glenn Research Center argued that at cloud top level, Venus is the paradise planet. Landis proposed a series of aerostat habitats, which are essentially zeppelins with breathable air inside, followed by a future floating city of platforms very similar to what was envisioned in 1980's Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. The Soviets, for their part, also imagined floating cities looking something like giant domed flying saucers with turbofan engines and rocket boosters where humans would be able to travel between habitats in large VTOL aircrafts. The nearby sun would provide ample energy, and the Venusian atmosphere would be a rich source of essential materials for building and sustaining habitats. These platforms and habitats nestled in Venus's yellow cloud layer would provide most of the conditions for a comfortable and productive life on Venus. To understand why such a thing might be possible, it's important to know how Venus got the way it is. Billions of years ago, the sun was fainter than it is today. It's even possible that Venus was once very much like Earth, with oceans of water, continent, and maybe even life. However, by about 300 million years ago, everything began to change. The planet underwent what's called a runaway greenhouse effect. Over millions of years, the atmosphere of Venus was converted to over 96% carbon dioxide, CO2. This CO2, the greenhouse gas, trapped more and more heat. As the heat rose, air pressure on the surface also began to rise, which triggered Venus quakes, more volcanic eruptions, and more CO2 spewing into the atmosphere. By the time the dinosaurs roamed the Earth, Venus was a barren hellscape. However, because so much CO2 had been dumped into the air, the planet had developed an atmosphere over 90 times thicker than ours. This makes for relatively good conditions high in Venus's atmosphere. At an altitude of about 50 kilometers or 31 miles above the Venusian surface, pressures and temperatures reach a balance which is more conductive to life, with 75 degrees Celsius, that's 167 Fahrenheit air, and pressure about the same as Earth's sea level. Gravity is only a tiny bit lower than the Earth's at this altitude. A few more kilometers up, where the air is a little less dense and the conditions are even better, with temperatures similar to Earth. While conditions would still be extremely harsh by Earth standards, as we'll see, there are some reasons why a settlement on Venus would be much more viable than one on the surface of Mars. For one thing, It's a lot closer to Earth than Mars, up to 50% closer during certain phases of its orbit, meaning current rocket technology could reach it in just a few weeks, and a manned rocket could probably reach it in about 3 months, compared with about 7 months to Mars, according to NASA. In addition, Venus receives over 4 times as much solar radiation as Mars, meaning it would supply ample power to a potential colony. Amazingly, conditions on Venus would probably allow humans to create a kind of passive steam engine, which would simply use the ambient heat of the planet to boil water, generating all of the electricity that would ever need. A potential colony could also employ passive thermionic electric generators, which would produce usable electricity by taking advantage of the heat difference between the inside surface of a colony balloon or structure and the atmosphere outside. In addition, heat floors could be constructed, which could consist of long probes hanging lower into Venus's atmosphere, which a colony could use to generate electric power. That, in turn, would be used to cool the colony down. Now, like Mars, Venus lacks the critical magnetosphere that shields our bodies from solar and cosmic radiation here on Earth. But unlike Mars, its thick ionosphere provides another form of protection. This layer of highly charged particles in its upper atmosphere blocks the solar wind and solar magnetosphere from reaching a potential colony. Venus also has the critical materials like CO2 and nitrogen necessary to produce breathable air from its atmosphere. As Landis argued in the 1970s, the extremely high atmospheric pressures of Venus actually make a floating city perfectly plausible. An aerostat habitat, for example, would float just like a hot air balloon on Earth, suspended at about 50 kilometers, that's 31 miles above the Venusian surface. There would only be a tiny difference between the internal pressure and the outside, meaning that any holes or tears in the habitat would not result in sudden depression. Rather, the gases inside would slowly diffuse with gases rushing in, making repairs fairly easy. Not only this, but the internal weight of the habitat would only really be limited by the structure's own strength. Just like a submarine in the ocean, a floating colony could maintain positive buoyancy just by reducing its internal air pressure very slightly to compensate for added mass. Paul Birch wrote in the Journal of the British Interplanetary Society in 1991 that even better conditions could be created for human inhabitants by the use of 2-tiered cloud cities with an upper balloon component filled with lighter gases like helium and a lower platform component holding a human habitat at slightly above Earth sea level pressures. The added buoyancy of the upper balloon would keep the colony stable, while the lower platform components would allow humans to live and work in acceptable atmospheric pressures and temperatures. Humans on such a platform could walk outside the colony in the atmosphere without pressure-tight spacesuits, requiring only breathing equipment to supply oxygen. However, all surfaces would have to be covered in a non-reactive polymer resin to keep the Venusian sulfuric acid rains from just destroying everything. You wouldn't want to get caught in a Venusian rainstorm. Still, if an acid-proof material could be found to construct the necessary balloons and domes in which humans could live and work, platforms could be constructed that would be large enough for human settlements, replete with forests, water features, buildings, and public transport systems. They'd all be integrated into one environment. The bigger the platform, in fact, the more stable it would have.
So interesting.
There would be no risk of decompression in such a colony because the pressure differences would be extremely low and backup systems such.
By now, we're guessing you've probably heard of Saudi Arabia's The Line, and perhaps even South Korea's Floating City. But what about Tolosa? It's yet another futuristic city planned to be built from scratch. This time it'll be set somewhere in the middle of a US desert and cost a staggering $400 billion to complete. Tolosa's blueprint is all about sustainability and an economic system called equitism. And it's been proposed by this guy, billionaire entrepreneur Mark Lowry, a former Walmart executive and founder of Jet.com and Diapers.com. Yep, you heard that right.
So I thought, well, what if we created a Tolosa Community Foundation and we went out and acquired hundreds of thousands of acres of worthless land and were able to build a city.
The city's being designed by a world-famous architect and aims to be home to 50,000 people by the year 2030 before going on to grow to a population of 5 million. So, how will an entire sustainable city be built in the middle of the desert? What exactly is equitism? And why is a billionaire, of all people, proposing the city of the future? As the consequences of climate change continue to wreak havoc all over the world, there have been more and more proposed solutions that strive for sustainability. Some of them seem pretty unthinkable ideas. Of course, there's the Line, a 170-kilometre mirrored linear city in Saudi Arabia that's designed to be fully walkable with no cars or carbon emissions. Mexico has proposed a smart forest city near Cancun that would contain 7.5 million plants and eco-efficient developments. And South Korea's floating city is structured to combat rising sea levels with platforms on top of the water. Then there's Tolosa, named after the ancient Greek word telos, meaning highest purpose. It's an entire city built from scratch to be located somewhere in the American Southwest. This wouldn't be the first time something completely new was built there. The Hoover Dam was constructed nearly 100 years ago around the Arizona-Nevada border and created a vital water and electricity supply for the surrounding cities. That helped spark major growth for places like LA, Phoenix and San Diego. And now billionaire Mark Lowry wants to introduce a new major city into the region, much of which he plans to invest in himself. But his approach towards increasing developments is a bit different than creating a source of energy.
I think the biggest challenge is first having the capital, and then it's the chicken and egg problem. Is if it is completely new, how do you get people to move there and live there? I think one of the things that we've learned from history is that if we're going to really do this, we need to do it like in a shotgun kind of approach where overnight 50,000 people move in.
Before we get into all that, let's just take a quick minute to talk a little bit about our sponsor for today's video, Lark. Lark was started with the...
That sounds like a fun idea.
...is due to be completed and ready for residents well before...
Everyone just moves in a day before.
In the meantime, Lark
Easy.
has us covered with their Pitcher Pure Viz, an advanced water pitcher that cleans itself. With a two-step filtration and purification process, it takes seconds to purify and sanitize your drinking water. They're nano-zero carbon supplies. We're not talking about oil and Walmart here. Tolosa's solution? Solar roof tiles and aeroponic farms. The panels will be a source of renewable energy, and this type of farming will cultivate a higher yield of crops using less water. Then there's the design of the city itself. At the centre stands Equitism Tower. Called the beacon of the city, Equitism Tower is a skyscraper with lookout areas where residents can gather. Surrounding the tower are 36 districts arranged as 15-minute cities where everything residents need will be within walking distance. For anything further away, there's a public transport system. Electric and autonomous vehicles will cruise the streets at a slow pace to protect pedestrians and bikers, but fossil fuel vehicles are banned. Overall, the 150,000-acre proposal is roughly the size of Chicago, and will apparently be built over a 40-year period. The location? Well, in the middle of a US desert, most likely in either Nevada, Utah or Arizona. Now, obviously, building a city from scratch in the middle of a hot desert while relying on surrounding resources sounds like a bit of a challenge.
When you get into constructed environments like large cities, you run a significant risk of a heat island impact that actually can change your weather patterns in the immediate vicinity of the built environment. Based upon the way the designs look, it looks like they're making significant efforts to incorporate green spaces, which would mitigate that heat island.
But while the design itself might work, a city needs access to water, and in a desert, water rights and availability aren't easy to come by. Cities in Arizona already face these issues, and many rely on fossil groundwater for its residents, a non-renewable resource. Others depend on desalination techniques, but this can be expensive and often isn't a very sustainable process. As for Tolosa, the futuristic city says it will capture and recycle water for various uses. This water will then be stored in reservoirs throughout its parks. This most likely will come from groundwater, but still raises another question. How can it make a finite resource last?
water eventually, it evaporates. They could stretch water probably using those kinds of methods a lot further than maybe has been done historically with urban sprawl. But I still think that there would be some challenges about the long term. And what I mean by the long term is, I mean beyond 100 years.
Sustainability isn't the only goal of Tolosa. Billionaire Mark Lorry also hopes to base the way its society operates on a concept called equitism. Now, what might equitism mean to a billionaire, you may ask? Well, according to Tolosa, it's an economic system where all residents have a stake in the city's land. As the value of the land increases, plots can be sold to create an endowment. The money gained will then go back to the city to fund social services like education and healthcare. Now, Lorry isn't the first billionaire to propose a futuristic city like this.
Something looks familiar
Bill
here.
Gates introduced Belmont, a smart city from scratch to be based in Arizona, and Elon Musk is trying to create a city called Starbase in Texas. It feels like there's a bit of a trend going on.
I think at the end of the day, a lot of these futuristic cities are just what you said. They start from this idea of it being futuristic. So you think of soulless, that's what I think of. Think of robots and machinery and automation. And that's not what we're leading with. We're leading with people, putting people at the center. And really, it's about the mission and values. I think you'd be hard-pressed to really say out loud what the mission and values are of a particular city in America. This will be very different.
While Tolosa may have impressive designs and ideas, it is still yet to announce the exact spot where that 150,000-acre city is going to sit. But just like all these other futuristic ideas, it might hint at what our cities could look like in the future.
People there enjoy a higher quality of life, they're happier, healthier, and have a sense of feeling of ownership in the city, or sort of like loyalty to the city, the same way you would like a university. You're like proud, like people are wearing the Tolosa sweatshirt and they're proud of being from Tolosa, and using that then as a model for other cities, countries to look at, to say, wow, like look, this city was started from scratch.
Lorry's idea for a community land trust isn't new. There are already nearly 300 across the US. But the idea of expanding it in such a big way is pretty different. And historically, the model helps maintain affordability for future low-income families, an idea that could influence cities struggling with these issues.
There's a lot that's appealing about that from a lifestyle standpoint, at least the way we understand it. But if you looked at that through the lens of, sustainability from an energy standpoint, from a natural resource standpoint, from an ability to adapt to climate change, it doesn't really add up. This type of design definitely does.
Now, it's certainly possible that Tolosa will never get built. But if it doesn't, the designs can still spur important conversations for forward-thinking policies. And as the effects of climate change further accelerates, they're conversations we desperately need to have. This video is made possible by Lark. You can learn more about that at the link below. There's also the chance to dive deeper on this and other topics on our channel over on the World's Best Construction Podcast. Available now wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, if you liked this video and you want to learn more about where construction is headed, make sure you're subscribed
That's very interesting.
to tomorrow's build. Welcome to 2020.
I never looked at this side of fucking YouTube, not gonna lie.
The world of construction serve up underwater roundabouts, record-breaking bridges, and an historic theatre that quite literally raised the roof.
Pretty interesting
The
shit
year
though.
ahead looks set to be even more dramatic, with the arrival of desert skyscrapers, incredible Formula 1 tracks, and entire new city districts. The world's greatest industry is about to pull off even more amazing feats. Here are 10 of the most exciting construction projects completing this year. Let's kick off in Japan, because over in Tokyo, something huge is emerging from the concrete jungle. No, not that, this. The Chiranomon Azabudi district, a new super development in the bustling business area of Minato. The goal is to create a city within a city with 3 enormous mixed-use towers and a public space landscaped by Thomas Heatherwick. In 2022, the main tower, snappily named the Main Tower, topped out at 325 meters and simultaneously became both Japan's tallest building and Tokyo's first super tall skyscraper. While it's common for skyscrapers to taper in towards their top, this structure keeps its huge floor plate most of the way up the building. Tokyo's in a seismic zone, and the building is so strong that it's designed to be a safe shelter to flee to, and for its occupants to carry on working even if Tokyo is hit by a magnitude 9 earthquake. Of course, we hope it doesn't come to that. Instead, developers Mori are hoping that when the district opens in 2023, residents and workers will enjoy a balanced neighbourhood of super high-rise buildings and a low-level park complete with an undulating pergola that creates hidden gardens and sunken courtyards. Staying in Asia, back in 2010, the Malaysian government came up with a plan to develop the nation into a high-income country by 2020. Yes, now 3 years ago. A key part of the strategy was this. The Tun Razak Exchange, Malaysia's first dedicated international finance hub. Inspired by the success of places like Canary Wharf in London, Pudong in Shanghai, and Singapore's Marina Bay Sands, the Tun Razak Exchange is a hugely ambitious 70-acre district filled with some 2.5 million square feet of office space, a 2 million square foot mall, and nearly 4,000 homes. The project was hit hard by COVID, and Malaysia's strict movement control order added large delays to much of the construction. Nevertheless, in 2022, the Exchange 106, Southeast Asia's tallest building, was completed, and it's set to be joined by 2 huge residential blocks in 2023. The Core and TRX residences are on track to finish and open, as well as the Exchange TRX, a luxury shopping mall and lifestyle hub. When it comes to mega projects, few places have a better pedigree than Egypt, and they have
God bless for this food.
Deserts. No, not that one, this one. The iconic tower. Yes, that's its actual name. Work on this skyscraper began in 2019 and it topped out in 2021 at 393 meters, making it Africa's tallest building and its first super tall skyscraper. It's being built as the centerpiece of the business district of Egypt's new administrative capital. Long story short, Egypt's capital Cairo has suffered from chronic overcrowding for decades. So in 2015, the government came up with the bold idea of building an entirely new city in the desert. When the tower completes and opens in 2023, it'll be one of 20 proposed skyscrapers in the district, all of which are being built at an estimated cost of $3 billion. If they last as long as some of their neighbours, the investment will probably be worth it. But you know what's better than a shiny new skyscraper? How about 2 shiny new skyscrapers? That's what's been built down under with a hotel tower at the 46th floor and create access between the two. But to get to this stage, the Golden Sky Bridge started off with wooden planks and a very strong stomach. A plywood deck was initially laid out using a cantilever from the shorter of the 2 buildings. Once in place, steel tendons were fitted between the 2 towers and a concrete slab was poured. Then a roof was fitted between, creating the effect of a ribbon wrapping around 1 floor of the apartment building and 2 floors of the hotel. One side of the roof has been fitted with a movement joint to allow the bridge to flex. This provides stability to the 2 towers during seismic tremors and strong winds, just in case you were worried that the golden ribbon was just for show. Speaking of skyscrapers, if you were to think of somewhere that couldn't get enough of them, you'd probably go for something like Dubai, Shanghai, or New York. But if you've been paying attention to our videos, you probably won't think of Europe, because, well, Europe just doesn't really do skyscrapers. Except there's one place where that's not quite true. This is 4 Frankfurt. A new development, funnily enough featuring 4 towers, in Frankfurt. Frankfurt's historic centre and the bustling financial districts have always been seen as 2 separate places, but 4 Frankfurt aims to change that. It sits between the 2 and is creating a mixed-use neighbourhood with offices, a hotel, residential apartments, all split between its towers. All those different uses come with different challenges for the construction team, most notably in the concrete cores. Each of the 4 skyscrapers turns away from the others at strategic points to maximise sunlight and create more
bro. Holy shit.
And one of the most
I'll look at this later. Alright, let's see. This is not bad. I'm gonna keep working on it later. Thank you so much for fucking tagging along, guys. Whoever fucking stuck around, I appreciate it so much. Much love. Subscribe, like and subscribe. I would appreciate it all a lot, and I'll fucking catch you on the next one. Oh my god. I'm fucking dying. Alright, bye bye. Thank you so much.